Welcome back. Former President Trump's hush money trial is set to resume tomorrow right here in New York. Last week, David Pecker wrapped up his testimony after 4 days on the stand. He's the former National Enquirer publisher, and he said that he helped the Trump campaign by covering up potentially embarrassing stories about the former president and then publishing stories about Trump's political rivals. The former president faces 34 counts of falsifying business records related to an alleged hush money payment made to former adult film star Stormy Daniels to conceal an alleged sexual affair. For his part, Mr. Trump has pleaded not guilty and denied a relationship with Daniels. For more, we are joined by NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach, who's been covering the trial. He's been in the room, but now we've got him on set. Gary, it's great to have you here with us.
Great to be here.
Good morning. So tell us a little bit about who else we've heard from as far as last week goes. Bring us up to speed and what you're going to be looking for this week.
So we saw 3 different parts of Donald Trump's life really explained to the jury this past week. First, we saw, as you mentioned, David Pecker. He explained the catch and kill scheme and the fact that he was doing what he was doing, which catching and killing stories for money, by protecting himself, protecting his company, and he said protecting Donald Trump, which I think was an important part of his testimony. We also heard from Rona Graff. She was Trump's longtime gatekeeper, essentially. She was the executive assistant, physically right outside of his office. She knew everything that was happening in that place on the 26th floor of Trump Tower. And what she said was she saw in the contact list of the Trump organization Stormy Daniels' contact information and Karen McDougal's contact information. Stormy Daniels' information was listed just as the word Stormy. Karen's had her full name. She was also aware and talked about sort of like the character defense for the defense, about the character witness, talking about how Donald Trump was a real nice guy, and he was somebody who, if he saw her working late, he would say, go home, enjoy your time with your family, don't stay here. She said she didn't because she had work to do, but that was something that the defense, I think, appreciated, the character defense part of it.
Absolutely. What do you think we're going to see this week? Tell us what you're looking for.
So at the very end of the day on Friday, we heard from Gary Farrow. He was Michael Cohen's banker, one of the people that Michael Cohen set up one of these shell companies within. And so he's going to be somebody who we only got sort of the introduction of him on Friday. This coming week, when court starts tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning, we're going to start hearing exactly what he knows and when about the money trail, because that's the real connective tissue that needs to start happening here. We have sort of a lot of the details, some of them salacious, some of them interesting about the character of everybody, but they really need to, if the prosecution wants to succeed in this case, start connecting the dots to the actual financial crime here that is alleged, which is the falsification of business records.
And Gary, give us the latest on this gag order back and forth.
So there have been 14 different violations, according to the prosecution, of this gag order, which prohibits Donald Trump from talking about witnesses, talking about the jury, or posting about them on his Truth Social account. 10 of them have already been heard within the court, and the judge has yet to make a decision on that. Now, that could be the most effective gag order there is, because of the idea that if he says, OK, this was a violation, it's a $1,000 fine per violation, and don't post them anymore on Truth Social, that's something Donald Trump could just blow off and brush by and continue going. If he doesn't make a decision, they're still sort of up in the air as to what the actual outcome of those violations could be.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.